You're not confused, you're just avoiding the real answer. And I'm here to take you guys through a personal journey to explain exactly what I mean by this. So, a couple weeks back, I was running because I'm running a marathon this Sunday, excuse me. And I was running a couple weeks back, just training for this marathon. So I ran 10 kilometers as just like a cool little run, ran 10 kilometers in one direction. So I decided to take the train back. And when I had taken the train back, I saw that I'd gotten a call from my friend. So I ended up calling my friend back up again. And we were kind of just chatting about we used to close back in the day together, working on a couple businesses, under a couple businesses and whatnot. So essentially what ended up happening was that was talking about how he wanted to do this whole different thing. I'm not going to go into too much detail because that's his thing. But essentially he wanted to post some sort of content, but he wasn't sure if he was going to do this or if he was going to do that. And then I just simply told him that it did not matter whether or not he wanted to do this or that because he had to post content anyway to do this or to get the leads or whatever. So that was kind of my main thing. And that's when I realized that people aren't even confused whether or not you should be doing this, you should be doing that, or whatever. You're just avoiding the real answer. And since we were closing back in the day and we were dealing with all these leads that usually have the same sort of mindset, he just admitted, like, yeah, I'm fucking acting like a lead right now. And that's funny for you guys that are closing. You probably know what we're talking about, but if it doesn't make sense for you, just very simply explained, most people usually have this sort of mindset where you know what you need to do, but you're avoiding what you're actually supposed to do to get the results you want. And that's kind of something that happened, which just really clicked in my mind. I'm going to give you guys an analogy later on so you can really understand what I mean. But I've been through this myself. Countless and countless of times I've been through this. And at the end of the day, whenever you actually do the action you know you need to do, that's what moves the needle in your life. And it's pretty crazy to think about because most of the time we always know what we need to do, but for whatever reason, for the uncomfortable position that we're in, we don't want to do it. And I'll be real with you guys. I'm dealing with this right now as well in a very personal setting as well with family relationships and stuff like that. So it's never really anything that gets easier. Obviously, by doing it countless of times, you kind of get used to it. But what it really comes down to is taking the action that you know you need to do. So you're not confused. You're most likely just avoiding the real answer you're supposed to do or the action you're supposed to do, right? So this kind of clicked for me when I talked to my friend, like I told you guys about. Now, like I said, I've been through this countless of times in my life, and I'm gonna take you guys through a little bit of that journey on where things actually changed. And I would say for myself, everybody has a different situation, obviously, but to give you guys a personal story on where this like really happened for me, and I know this is like the breaking point in my life. And this was really when I quit my 9 to 5, like my first real 9 to 5. When I quit that, that's when everything changed for me, at least. And I'll take you guys through this journey because I was working at a very comfortable 9 to 5 job in sales, managing a team and whatnot, making money at a young age, and just living very comfortably. But that's the key word. It's comfortable, right? Because I always knew I had more to achieve. However, I never achieved that because I was too comfortable. The breaking point was when I decided to quit my job because I had known that I needed to do this for like 4 years. Basically, I knew it for like 3, but I've been working there for 4. So when I quit my job, that's when everything moved in the right direction. That's when I finally got to 10, 20, 30K months. When I finally started to make some serious money, that's when everything moved in the right direction. And the reason why was because I wasn't confused because I want to do this, I want to do that. I didn't know what business to start, what vehicle, whatever. No, I knew what I needed to do all along, but I was just avoiding the real action and the real answer. And to give you guys a perfect analogy so you can actually understand what I mean, usually not being confused but just avoiding the real answer comes down to a perfect analogy, which I like to just frame in a very easy way for everybody to understand. It comes down to essentially the same thing as driving with a little bit of a foggy window, windshield, whatever it's called, right? Because you have two different types of people in this case. You have the guy that has a little bit of it's foggy, you can't see that well, so you kind of just stop, wait for the fog to disappear. You kind of wipe the windows, whatever you got to do, just to kind of drive a little bit and whatnot. But then you also have the guy who just rolls the window down, peeks to the side, and just keeps driving because he knows that eventually he's going to drive past the fog and everything is going to be visible. Because when you're driving in the fog or a foggy, you have a foggy windshield, whatever, you can't, because you know you're on the road, you can see the lines, you can see like 2 meters ahead of you or whatnot, but you can't see far in front of you because it's foggy, right? So then you're like, you know where you're supposed to drive, you know what the right direction is, and you know what you're supposed to do, but you decide to wait, or you decide to go slow, you decide to just kind of stop and wait for this shit to pass. But then you realize that you're in a foggy area and it's never really passing like that. So what you have to do is pass through the fog. And that's what the other guy is doing. He takes his head out and drives in the fog because he knows the right direction, right? Obviously, no crashes or anything, but I hope you guys get the idea. What I want to emphasize is essentially the case of people that drive past the fog and eventually get to a place where they can see the whole thing, see the bigger picture, even when you're not able to actually see it, right? It's all in the mind. It's kind of crazy, but when it comes down to this, we keep stopping ourselves from doing the right thing. And this can get like very, very like spiritual and maybe crazy for some of you guys, but there's different reasons to this. And I can take you guys through kind of my thought process behind it as well. Essentially, when you know what you're supposed to do, usually when you're procrastinating, acting like you're confused, I need to do this better, the video needs to do this, whatever, you don't decide to post it because you need to do this, you have to do this first and this, you're not confused, you're just avoiding what you're actually supposed to do. Because you know what the best thing you have to do is just click publish in that case, right? But it goes deep. And what I mean by deep is like it genuinely goes very, very deep. Because when you get this calling, when you know what you're supposed to do and you're procrastinating, essentially what is happening is that this is coming from the outer world. This is coming as a calling, something you know you're supposed to do. And the reason why you're procrastinating and why you're not doing it is because this is something that has already been done, if that makes sense. Because it's a thought. A thought has to be made before it can be done, right? Before the action can be taken. So it's already made, it's already done in the mind. It's just about doing it in an action. So the reason why you're procrastinating and staying confused is because your body wants to be comfortable. Holy shit, a cell just came in. But what I want to come across, if you guys heard the sound, that's what I'm saying. But essentially what is happening is that your body wants to be comfortable in this state, but your mind has already done this in its thought. So the reason why you're procrastinating is because your body wants to be comfortable while your mind has already done it, right? So that's what's kind of going on here, right? Now, since it's already been done in the mind, you have to take that action. So that's why you're sitting with the thought of always knowing, like, I know what I need to do, but you haven't actually physically done it. You've only done it in the mind, but not physically with your body, right? So going out of your way to do the right thing is the right thing to do, but it's usually always very uncomfortable, right? And that's why I hope I can inspire you with my personal story. And also when I was on the phone with my friend on just admitting you knowing that you're avoiding it. That's the first step into doing it. Because when you admit you're right, I'm acting like a lead or I'm acting like a guy that knows what he needs to do, but I don't do it. When you admit that, that's the first step into actually doing the right thing. Instead of beating yourself down about not doing shit, you should admit you haven't done shit. And it's gonna make it 10 times easier to actually do the action. Okay. I hope this makes sense. I'm trying to give you guys a personal story as well to inspire you to do the right thing and also give you the analogy so that everything actually makes sense in your mind. It's understandable. So now you know what you need to do. You're not confused. You're just avoiding the real action and the real answer you need to do. Hope this helps. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.